Let's talk about mind maps, another really useful tool in creating and achieving your goals. Hi, my name is Stephanie. I'm a therapist on Long Island, New York that specializes in the treatment of eating disorders and body image issues. If you like this video at the end or found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up and please consider subscribing if you're interested in learning about eating disorders, body image issues, general mental health and well-being, as well as therapeutic tools. So as I've been saying, I'm kind of doing like this little mini series, if you will, about goal setting, creating and achieving goals, and how do you actually could get to the point of achieving them. And this video is about something specific called mind maps. You may or may not have heard of them. If you have not heard about mind maps, they're essentially a visual representation of your goals and kind of like an organization of your thoughts and the action steps in order to achieve your goal. Many of us are very visual people, so we really need to see something tangible in order to kind of organize ourselves and to learn and to just redo the plan for goal setting or really for anything in life. One thing I really want to make clear is that there's so many ways you could create a mind map. There's not one size fits all. There's not just one way to do it. I will show an example in the next clip of a mind map as it pertains to eating disorder recovery, but this is just an example, and then I'll kind of talk a little bit more about it afterwards and different ideas of how to create it and just tips to create it as well. So stay tuned. I'm going to flip over to an actual mind map so that you could kind of get the idea of what it is.
Okay, so here is an example of a mind map, and I know I'm probably going to freak out some people's OCD right now just because it's a little messy. So forgive me for that, but this is going to give you the idea. You could put it on oak tag or, something like that, put it on your desk. If you have a hutch, sometimes people like to put it there. Wherever you're going to see it daily and however floats your boat in order to make sure that you're using this to its full potential. So let me give you a brief tour on how this is set up. This is set up for eating disorder recovery in particular, but it can be used for anything, any goal, anything like that. All right, so let's start with eating disorder recovery. Obviously, that's the middle, that's the goal. So we have this side in blue Post-its. I don't know if you can see that it's blue, kind of looks white in here, but so we have the therapeutic end of what we need to accomplish. Sorry for the shakiness. So we have attending weekly sessions, to being honest with your therapist, self-care, different ideas for self-care, journaling daily, using opposite action and emotional regulation skills. If you know where that's from, leave a comment down below. And just a little bit of a inspirational thing at the end. Again, it could be anything that you that however you want to make a mind map, but I'll talk more about that. So now down here we have some social support. That's also a big part of recovery. So we have some tips: do not isolate, reach out, spend time with family, see friends one time a week at least, and we have some ideas of who is in your support network. Again, this is just an example here that we can use. Now, nutrition in the green Post-its. We have attending weekly sessions, being honest, 3 meals, 2 snacks. Again, this is just an example of how a mind map for eating disorder recovery might look. It's going to look different for everyone, so don't take this as yours. Try 2 new fear foods weekly, keep my food logs, fuel yourself, a little bit of fun in there. And over here, we just have some in the pink Post-it, some qualities or some characteristics that you really need to make sure that you're using in recovery. So we have honesty up there, flexibility, willingness, and accountability, since those are all really important in eating disorder recovery. So again, I'll just show you a snapshot up here. I'm trying my best. There you go.
All right, now that you had seen that, you could see that really in that particular mind map, it just goes and talks about the different things that are really going to be useful that person needs to do in order to achieve the goal of eating disorder recovery. So what I do want to say is that there's so many different ways to create mind maps. That was a pretty basic one, and you can always expand on it. So that's just something to kind of get you started a little bit. But usually it'll branch off into even more branches for even each category. For instance, in that mind map that I had shown you, there was one part for the therapy category was being honest with your therapist. And that might be really hard for you, especially with an eating disorder. So you may want to branch that off into a little bit more about how you're going to make sure that you're actually doing that. Is it possibly sending over journal entries to your therapist prior so that you're kind of airing out what you need to say without being right in front of them, because sometimes that's really difficult. So that's just an example. Just branch off into as many things that are going to be helpful for you to achieve the goal that you're looking to achieve. I have seen so many amazing and very creative mind maps. I can think creatively, but when it comes to executing it out, I'm just not that artsy type of person. So I could give you some ideas. Of course, mine is pretty basic. I just did Post-its, and you could do that and just like have different colors, whatever, and you could have pretty handwriting. Again, I'm not artsy, so that's not really my thing, or my strong point rather. So you could put that on oak tag so that you have it wherever. But others that I've seen was, you could draw like a flower, be really intricate, and like what is going to go into growing that flower, and those are going to be the tools that you're going to use. These are the people who are like super artsy and could create art. And that might be something that you do. If you are more like me, you might want to do like a brainstorming bubble, like how you used to do in elementary school. Like you create that little bubble and all the spider legs into the thoughts that go into your brainstorm. So the bubble would be the goal, and the branches would be, and the spider legs will be what you need to do in order to achieve that goal. Another really cool idea is maybe even doing it like a game board, like Chutes and Ladders. And you might want to, put in like the process as you're going up the game board, what it's going to take for you to achieve the goal. But ladders, you might want to put in there what's going to help escalate the goal even quicker, if there's anything that you can think of there. And for chutes, what's going to be a barrier at that point in your recovery, or at that point in achieving your goal, that might kind of set you back. So this is really just important so that you know what you're expecting and you know where your mind is leading, your mind map. And these are just examples. So there's so many different ways that you could do this, and you could be as creative as you like. You could be as, basic as you would like. However works for you. This is really just a way that's going to organize your thoughts, get it down on paper, and be a visual reminder for you every single day of your path to achieving your goal. Mind mapping is a creative process, and you don't have to be super creative to do it. It's just, again, putting all your thoughts down on some sort of paper object, or however you're going to do it. Maybe it's not paper and I'm just not creative enough to think about it that way, but whatever it is, you can create a mind map that's really going to be fitting for your goals. It's a creative process, as I had said, but what's really important about it is that it's forcing you to sit down and actually think about this process. Goals are not just achieved. Goals must be something that's more than just being said. Success with goals actually occur when you set conscious and intentional efforts into motion in order to achieve those goals. Mind mapping is not only an organization of your thoughts, it's an actual step in the goal achieving process. It is forcing you to sit down and think about all these ideas that are going to be helpful for you, and that in and of itself is a conscious and intentional effort. So not only is it a step toward achieving your goal, it's also a daily reminder to make sure that you are doing the action steps in order to achieve your goal. In my last video, I talked about SMART goals, using that process in order to work through the mapping, essentially, of your goal and breaking it into mini goals. So this is not isolating that from mind mapping. You can absolutely use those in conjunction, and that might be the additional spider legs or the branches in your goal. So if, as I said before, if being honest with your therapist is a really big part of your treatment for an eating disorder recovery, you might want to branch that off into the SMART goal process, list it there or whatever. And when you are looking at the mind map, it might be a little bit more generic. So as you're furthering on in your path and in that map, really set the intentions to create a SMART goal for each one of those goals that is going to help you perpetuate you closer to the actual achieving of those goals. So a big reason why people are not achieving the goals as they would like is because most people just say their goals. Maybe they'll write it down and they kind of forget about it. But what is really needed is what I said before, conscious and intentional effort set into motion in order to achieve that goal. It can't just be said, it must be worked. And that's something that I hope that you remember in your goal achieving journey. And to use mind maps, consider using mind maps in order to help achieve that goal for yourself. I hope you found this video helpful or useful. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing to my channel. If you're interested in learning more about any of this type of stuff, I also have a blog, and I will leave that link in the description below if you are interested. And what I would like for you to answer in the comment section below is, have you ever used a mind map? And what did it do for you? So thank you for tuning in, and I wish you happy goal setting on your journey to finding your state of balance, and I hope to see you in my next video. Have a great one.